Okay, let's dive into this. We all crave it, right? That little slice of peace and quiet. But have you ever gotten exactly what you wanted, only to find that the silence feels, I don't know, just wrong? Today, we're going to get into why the quiet we try to build for ourselves in modern life can feel less like a sanctuary and a whole lot more like a cage. This right here, this simple quote, it's basically the key to this whole puzzle. It hints that there isn't just one kind of silence. Nope, there are two, and they are fundamentally different. One of them isolates you, and the other connects you. And, figuring out that difference, it might just change everything. I mean, really think about it. You finally get home, you shut that door on the noisy world, and bam. Instead of relief, this weird hum of anxiety just starts up inside you. You wanted quiet, but what you got feels a lot like loneliness. And if that's you, listen up. It's a super common experience, and it's not some personal failing. It's actually a design flaw in our modern world. To really get this, let's talk about Leo. This guy has done everything right, at least according to the modern playbook for finding peace. He's engineered this perfect little bubble of quiet, and yet he is anything but peaceful. Leo's story, it's the perfect case study in a very modern problem, what we're going to call the illusion of quiet. So this is our first major concept. The quiet that Leo has built for himself, well, it isn't actually real silence. It's something else entirely. It's an artificial quiet that our nervous system doesn't actually recognize as safe or restful. So what is this thing we're calling urban noise? It's not just loud traffic. It's the muffled bass from your neighbor, that distant siren, the hum of your own refrigerator. It's the sound of being atomized, of being just one single separate unit among millions. See, this isn't the absence of sound, it's the suppression of connection. And this contrast right here, this unlocks the whole issue. It's the difference between that hollow quiet of the city and the rich, meaningful silence our ancestors knew. This is where we find those two kinds of silence we've been talking about. Okay, let's really break this down. Urban noise, on the left, is all about escape. The goal is to block out the world. But that just leads to loneliness and this weird sensory fatigue. Now, tribal silence is the total opposite. It's about connection. It's rooted in this feeling of belonging, and what comes out of it is resilience, it's clarity. One pushes the world away, the other invites the truth in. Yeah, this isn't that empty, awkward silence. Picture a couple of elders sitting together, maybe not speaking for minutes at a time. Now, to us, that might seem really tense, but for them, it's an active process. It's a shared quiet where you feel more connected, not less. It's the quiet of belonging. So this begs the question, right? Why does being alone in that urban quiet feels so dangerous? Well, the answer isn't just some psychological quirk. It's actually wired deep, deep into our biology and our very recent history. I mean, for pretty much all of human history, being cut off from the group was a death sentence. To be alone was to be vulnerable. And our brains, they have not forgotten this, even when we're surrounded by concrete jungles. We are hardwired for the we, not the me. This is exactly what's happening to Leo up there on the 22nd floor. While his conscious mind is trying to chill out, his ancient amygdala, his brain's alarm bell, is just freaking out. This deep, instinctual part of his brain interprets that profound quiet not as peace, but as total abandonment. And what's wild is how recent all of this is. I mean, for most of history, we lived in what you could call porous environments, always aware of the life buzzing around us. The whole idea of a private, soundproofed room is a pretty new invention. In a way, our modern homes have become these little sensory deprivation tanks that our biology just hasn't had time to adapt to. So, okay, if it's not just about turning down the volume, what makes silence meaningful? This is where we shift a little from biology to philosophy and get into the very purpose and the intent behind our quiet. And the crucial point really is this. What's your intention? Are you using quiet as a shield to kind of numb yourself and escape from the world? Or are you using it like an antenna to tune into something deeper, whether that's your inner self, nature, or some kind of spiritual source? Yeah, think about these ancient monks. They weren't trying to escape into their own private bubble like a modern apartment dweller. No, they were pilgrims. They went into the silence of the desert to confront themselves and connect with God.
Theirs was a silence that was absolutely full of purpose and meaning.
All right, so that's the diagnosis. Now for the prescription. How can we actually find that meaningful tribal silence when we're living in a high-rise? Well, it's all about transforming our approach to being alone. Let's start by reframing the goal. This isn't about just carving out more me time. Isolation, that's the empty room. Solitude, that's the full heart. It's about turning that feeling of being cut off into a feeling of being deeply connected, even when you happen to be by yourself. So here are 3 powerful tools to do just that. First, ditch the digital noise. Your phone is the ultimate urban noise machine, a constant source of that anxious, atomizing feeling. Silence it. Second, ground yourself in your own lineage. Those photos and heirlooms on your shelf, they're not just decorations. They're visual anchors that tell your ancient brain you belong to a long, long story. And third, practice shared silence. This might feel super awkward at first, but just being quietly present with someone rebuilds that tribal muscle, and it teaches your nervous system that quiet can actually be a sign of safety and connection. So, look, in the end, you aren't broken for feeling lonely when you're supposed to be at peace. You're just a soul that was designed for a village, living in a cubicle. The answer isn't to seek more emptiness. It's to find a silence that is full of connection, full of history, and full of meaning. A silence that, in its own way, talks back.